How are receiving yards calculated for offensive players? Have you ever wondered how football analysts determine the effectiveness of a receiver? One of the key metrics they use is receiving yards. Let's break down how these yards are calculated for offensive players. Receiving yards are the total distance gained by a player after catching a forward pass. The process begins at the line of scrimmage, which is where the ball is snapped. From that point, every yard gained by the receiver from the moment they catch the ball until the play ends is counted. This could be when the player is tackled, goes out of bounds, or even scores a touchdown. It is important to note that yards lost due to penalties do not count toward receiving yards. Additionally, yards gained on lateral or backward passes are also excluded from this statistic. To understand this better, let's look at the steps involved in calculating receiving yards. First, when a receiver catches the ball, the yard line where the catch occurs is recorded. Next, the yard line where the play ends is noted. The difference between these two yard lines gives us the number of receiving yards credited to the player for that specific play. If the receiver catches the ball behind the line of scrimmage and then gains yards moving forward, those yards will count positively toward their total receiving yards. However, if the receiver loses yards after catching the ball, such as being tackled behind the catch spot, only the net yards gained will be counted. In the realm of football player statistics, receiving yards serve as a vital metric for assessing a receiver's productivity and contribution to the passing game. This statistic reflects both the ability to catch passes and the ability to gain yards after the catch. Advanced analytics take this a step further by breaking down receiving yards into components like air yards, which is the distance the ball traveled in the air before the catch, and yards after catch, which measures how many yards a player gains after securing the ball. For practical applications, total receiving yards are often summed up across games or seasons to evaluate a player's overall performance. To find the average receiving yards per game, you simply divide the total receiving yards by the number of games played. This gives a clear picture of a player's consistency and productivity. Coaches, analysts, and fantasy football managers frequently use receiving yards to compare players and predict future performance. Tracking yards after catch separately helps identify receivers who excel at gaining extra yards after making a catch versus those who primarily gain yards through the initial catch itself. Receiving yards provide a clear measure of the net forward yardage gained by a player catching forward passes. This statistic is fundamental in offensive football analytics and plays a significant role in evaluating a receiver's effectiveness and impact on the passing game.